Barbara. How are you? Oh, you're so wide awake. Morning, Gordy. Well, I see you're stuck in your
It's hours before the first visitors arrive.
Are you hungry this morning?
A time for morning greetings and the day's first meal.
People look at these animals and they see an animal that sleeps up to 20 hours a day, and it's kind of difficult to recognize that an animal that sleeps that much can actually have a personality, but they really do. They're very unique animals too, and so they're really fascinating. They're actually marsupials rather than bears. A lot of times people call them bears. That probably originated because they look sort of like teddy bears.
Climb aboard. We're about to go on a shooting safari with Dr. Harry Wegeforth, founder of the San Diego Zoo. Want to come? But don't bring guns. We'll only be shooting with our cameras. We want the animals to live long and healthy lives so that people can enjoy watching them for years to come. We're looking at scenes of the same wild country that greeted Dr. Harry Wegeforth when he bravely traveled on his own safaris to capture wild animals to house at the San Diego Zoo. Dr. Harry's search for animals for the San Diego Zoo took him to many beautiful exotic countries. For several of his expeditions, he traveled by water on a friend's yacht. Dr. Wegeforth was a brave man to sail to foreign ports in the early 1900s. But he was a smart man, too, because he brought back more than just animals. He collected hundreds of plants that the animals liked to eat and that they would need to survive. Once, when looking for Guadalupe fur seals, he had some unexpected luck. Some scientists believed that these marine mammals had become extinct. So when Dr. Wegeforth heard that some had been spotted on a Pacific island, he got very excited. He organized an expedition, but the rare seals eluded him. He was disappointed, of course, but he wasn't discouraged for long. Soon after, a fisherman from Guadalupe Island came to the zoo with 2 Guadalupe fur seals. In 1924, he took a collecting trip to Australia. See New Trails, Old Worlds from 75th Anniversary Packet. This was no ordinary trip. Remember, passenger airplanes were rare in 1924. This trip meant sailing for more than 3 weeks, which is a long time when you're at sea. Animals from Southern California, like pelicans and sea lions, were brought along to trade with Australian zoos. Soon after the trip began, everyone's worst fears of a terrible storm came true. For 3 miserable days and nights, a strong wind dashed salt spray and water across the ship's deck, drenching the animals and threatening to overturn and smash the stacked cages. It was hard to keep the animals warm and dry, and even harder to feed them properly. Feeding wild animals even during normal dry weather is never easy. They have special diets. Some are finicky eaters, and some of them require food that takes a long time to prepare. Can you imagine having to go from cage to cage in a torrential storm at sea, carrying all those special dinners on the slippery, rocking deck? Finally, after 21 days, the ship landed in Australia. The animals from California were removed from their cages and taken to their new homes. Then their cages were cleaned and loaded up with all of the new Australian animals: giant red kangaroos, wallaroos, wallabies, wombats, Tasmanian devils, bandicoots, and opossums. There was one particular animal that amazed everyone, the echidna, a primitive egg-laying mammal similar to a platypus that nurses its young and carries them around in a pouch. Soon the ship's deck was packed, but space was still needed for the gorgeous sampling of exotic birds to come. The crew had to move fast. They wanted to set sail in good weather for the long voyage home. With a few moves and sorting of cages, enough room was cleared. and everyone welcomed aboard a colorful collection of mandarin ducks, Maggie geese, emus, giant flightless birds, cassowaries, bowerbirds, cockatiels, and many other birds. Just as the ship began to pull away from shore, a small delivery truck whizzed up to the gangplank with 2 large crates and a big sign saying, "Koala bears for the children of San Diego, USA, from the children of Sydney, Australia." Inside the crates were a pair of the famed marsupials that, like opossums and kangaroos, carry their babies around in pouches. Also included in this last-minute delivery was a small, locked iron chest. The crew members scattered to perform their seafaring jobs, wondering what mysterious new passenger they had taken on board. It wasn't until they were hundreds of miles out to sea, with thousands more to go, that the crew discovered they were sailing with, gulp, a giant king cobra snake. When he wasn't bringing animals from foreign lands back to California, Dr. Wegeforth often took mini-safaris to nearby Balboa Park to collect snakes. Friends of the zoo brought in snakes that they'd collected too. Sometimes Dr. Wegeforth used these reptiles to trade for other species from other zoos. Other times he sold them to dealers on the East Coast and used the funds to buy animals that the zoo didn't have yet. Dr. Harry knew from his safaris and trading experiences that some animal dealers didn't treat their animals well. They considered money more important than the health of the animals they worked with, and that made Dr. Harry very angry. It also angered him that these same dealers were very good at inflating the price of animals, that is, selling them for much more than what was fair. To put an end to this practice, he got together with other zoo directors to form the American Association of Zoological Parks and Aquariums, AAZPA. Today, AAZPA continues to oversee the fair trade and collection of animals. It also assists captive breeding programs, serves as a legal watchdog in Washington, D.C., and promotes communication and professionalism among zoos. Animal collecting expeditions are pretty much a thing of the past. Today, animals usually arrive at zoos as gifts, trades, the result of captive breeding programs, or because someone has tried to import them illegally and has been caught. Still, if he were alive today, Dr. Wegeforth would probably be amazed at the diversity on display at the zoo he founded. The San Diego Zoo is home to more than 800 different animal species. That's more than 3,800 animals, and its plant collection features more than 6,500 species.